Scientists in Peru are uncovering alien mummies, lost cities, and technology that shouldn't exist. This could change everything. High in the Andes Mountains of Peru, over 12,000 feet above sea level, lies a plateau that defies explanation. It's called Marawasi, a place where massive stones take the form of giant animals, human faces, strange beings, and symbols that don't match any known culture. These stone formations aren't just a few isolated shapes, they stretch across miles, carved into a forest of solid granite, sitting silently in the clouds. What makes Marawasi so unusual is the precision and repetition of these shapes. You walk through the plateau and suddenly, there's a lion's head. Turn the corner, and there's a figure that looks like an ancient astronaut, wearing what could be a helmet. Then you spot what some call the African Queen, her features carved with uncanny detail. Some even say there's a giant face with closed eyes and a mouth frozen mid-scream, buried halfway in the earth. Now here's where it gets even stranger. From the ground, some of the stones seem like random boulders. But when viewed from a certain angle or elevation, the forms become crystal clear, almost as if they were designed to be seen from above. That's led some to believe Marawasi could be a message to the sky, or even a marker for something not of this earth. Theories range from an ancient lost civilization with unknown tools, to travelers from beyond Earth. Some claim the plateau holds a kind of energy. The electromagnetic field here behaves differently, and people report visions, lucid dreams, and a sense of being watched. Scientists haven't confirmed any of that, but it hasn't stopped visitors from coming in search of answers. If these stones were shaped by human hands, it would mean a highly advanced culture existed long before the Inca, a culture capable of shaping solid granite on a massive scale, and one that left behind no written records, only stone. And if they're natural, then nature somehow created a place filled with familiar forms that seem too intentional to be random.
Find Peter Parker!
A few years ago, archaeologists in Cusco made a discovery that quickly drew international attention: human skulls from pre-Columbian Peru, with small, flat metal plates embedded directly into the bone. These weren't decorative or ritual items. They were surgically placed inside fractured skulls, precisely where injuries would have occurred. Even more puzzling, the surrounding bone showed signs of healing. That means these individuals survived the procedures. And here's where it gets wild. Some of these implants were made of rare, non-corrosive metals. Modern surgeons use titanium or stainless steel, but these pre-Inca civilizations supposedly didn't have access to refined metal or surgical tools. So how did they manage to place implants with that level of precision and success? Some experts now think they were performing a form of primitive neurosurgery, but no one can explain the metallurgy. Others believe they may have understood bone regeneration better than we do today. A few go even further, suggesting outside influence, maybe knowledge passed down from a civilization we've never identified. The skulls now sit in museum collections, silent but unsettling. Were these just the earliest surgeons, or is there more to the story than we're being told? In the remote cliffs of southern Peru, near the ancient stronghold of Huacrapucara, explorers have found something that doesn't match any known style of Inca art. It's not a fortress wall, not a ceremonial carving. It's a weathered stone with a face. But not just any face. This one has narrow, slanted eyes, no clear mouth, and a warped structure that doesn't look fully human. Locals have nicknamed it El Rostro del Otro Mundo, the face from another world. It's carved into an isolated rock, away from the main ruins. No signs point to it, no markers explain it. But once you notice it, it's hard to forget. The stone appears to have smooth, deliberate lines, the kind that don't usually happen by chance. Some archaeologists say it's just a coincidence of erosion, others aren't so sure. What makes this find stand out is how unnatural it looks, even compared to known mythological figures. It doesn't resemble gods or animals from Andean mythology. If anything, it looks like a stylized creature, or a mask, with a shape that suggests something beyond normal human design. Some believe it could be part of a larger object that broke off long ago. Others say it was intentionally hidden, placed here for a reason we've forgotten. And there's a theory that keeps resurfacing, that it represents a being that ancient cultures either saw or imagined, a visitor maybe, something they didn't have the words to describe, so they carved what they saw. There's no definitive answer, but the face still sits there, untouched, waiting. And the more you stare at it, the more you wonder what kind of presence inspired it, and whether it was ever meant to be found. In the Paracas Desert of southern Peru, archaeologists unearthed something that immediately caused a stir. Dozens of ancient skulls, long and unnaturally stretched. These aren't just examples of cranial deformation, a practice known to several ancient cultures. The Paracas skulls are different. They're larger, heavier. Some have a cranial volume up to 25% bigger than a typical human skull. And the real shock came when geneticists got involved. Samples were sent for DNA testing and the results weren't what anyone expected. According to researchers, parts of the DNA didn't match anything in the existing human genome database. Some fragments showed mutations never seen in any known human, ancient or modern. That led to speculation that went far beyond the academic world. Was this another branch of humanity we've never encountered? Or was it something else entirely? Skeptics say the mutations are just degradation from age or contamination, but even mainstream scientists admit that these skulls are among the strangest ever recorded. The structure of the foramen magnum, the opening at the base of the skull, is in a different place. Some of the skulls have only one parietal plate instead of two. That's not something you get from binding a baby's head. Whether these skulls belong to an unknown human population, a now extinct hominid group, or something even stranger, no one has answered the question that really matters. Who were they? And where did they come from? Lake Tittikaka is already one of the highest and largest lakes in the world, sitting nearly 12,500 feet above sea level. But its most unbelievable secrets lie hidden below the surface. In recent decades, divers and sonar mapping teams have discovered what appears to be the remains of massive man-made structures beneath the lake. We're talking about paved roads, stone terraces, long walls, and even the ruins of what might have been temples. Some of these submerged structures line up with Inca legends, stories of a golden city that once stood near the lake but was swallowed by the water after a disaster. The Incas believed this lake was the birthplace of their gods, and now we're starting to understand why. These aren't random boulders. Some walls are built with precision stonework, the kind you'd expect to see in Cusco or Machu Picchu, not under a body of water. The structures were first spotted by local fishermen and later confirmed by scientific teams. One sonar image shows what looks like a pyramid-shaped platform. Another area contains what resembles a sunken causeway, leading from the shore into deeper water. If these ruins predate the Inca, and some believe they do by centuries or more, then this could be evidence of an advanced culture lost to time, literally buried beneath the waves. The question is, was it a flood? Was it a shift in tectonic plates? Or was something else responsible for dragging a whole city underwater?
Find Peter Parker.
In a remote desert canyon in southern Peru, thousands of ancient petroglyphs are carved into volcanic rock. This place is called Toro Muerto, Dead Bull, and it's one of the largest rock art sites in the world. Over 5,000 stones are covered in etchings that include animals, people, strange symbols, and figures that some say don't belong in any known culture. Many of the carvings show humanoid beings with huge eyes and oversized heads. Others depict what looks like advanced tools or abstract geometrical shapes that resemble antennas, spacecraft, or even landing pads. While mainstream archaeologists date the site to around 1,000 years ago, no one truly knows what some of the symbols mean or who made them. Some of the designs are found nowhere else in South America. That's led a few researchers to suggest that Toro Muerto was a kind of ancient meeting point. A message board, maybe even a map. The arid climate has preserved the carvings incredibly well, and every year new figures are uncovered that raise more questions than they answer. One theory gaining popularity online is that Toro Muerto may have been part of a sky-watching culture, possibly a group that communicated with something above. While there's no direct evidence of alien contact, it's the sheer volume and strangeness of the images that keeps people guessing. Some of these carvings look like they were meant to be seen from high above. What were they trying to say? And more importantly, to who? When images of strange mummified bodies surfaced from a cave near Nazca, Peru, the internet exploded. These weren't typical ancient remains. The bodies were small, with long fingers, massive eye sockets, and just 3 fingers on each hand. They looked like something from a science fiction film, but they were real. The controversy began immediately. Were they ancient humans with unusual deformities, or something else entirely? Independent researchers and scientists from multiple countries examined the mummies. Carbon dating placed some of them at over 1,000 years old. CT scans showed internal organs. These weren't fake dolls. But the bodies had anomalies that didn't match known human biology. The bone structure, the joints, even the skin, all seemed slightly off. One body was found to have eggs inside it, sparking even more theories. Official institutions stayed cautious. Peru's government launched investigations and major museums distanced themselves from the finds. But researchers pushed on, claiming these beings could represent an unknown species, either a lost branch of humanity or something non-human that lived here long before we arrived. So far, no clear answer has emerged. What's certain is this: these mummies don't match anything found elsewhere in the world, and whatever they are, they were intentionally buried, wrapped, and preserved. Someone wanted them remembered, or hidden. On the outskirts of Cusco, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman stands as one of the most mysterious structures in the world. Towering stone walls made of giant limestone blocks fit together with such precision, not even a blade of grass can slide between them. No mortar was used. The blocks weigh up to 200 tons, and they were somehow moved uphill, then locked into place with impossible accuracy. Modern engineers admit they couldn't replicate the construction with current technology. The shapes are complex. Many stones have more than 12 angles. The surfaces are polished and carved to interlock perfectly with their neighbors, forming a wall that has withstood massive earthquakes without shifting. How did the builders shape and move stones this massive? Some believe the Inca had knowledge of a softening agent, a plant-based liquid that could make stone malleable. Others think acoustic technology was involved, using sound waves to reduce weight. And then there's the fringe theory that refuses to go away: anti-gravity. Some researchers argue the Incas, or their predecessors, had access to lost technology that could manipulate mass, a forgotten science we still don't understand. Whatever the truth is, no written records explain how Sacsayhuaman was built. No blueprints, no tools left behind, just the stones, perfectly fitted, defiantly silent, and unlike anything else on Earth. Legends from the Andes speak of a sacred object known as the Golden Disk of the Sun, a large, perfectly round plate of solid gold once kept inside the Temple of the Sun in Cusco. This wasn't just decoration. The disk was said to channel divine energy from the sun itself, and Inca priests used it for healing, rituals, and possibly something more advanced: energy manipulation. When the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, they heard rumors about this disk. It supposedly vanished before they could seize it. Some say it was smuggled out and hidden in the mountains. Others believe it was taken to Lake Tittikaka and dropped into the depths to keep it safe. No one's ever found it. Descriptions claim the disk could reflect sunlight in ways that lit entire chambers. It had strange symbols etched around the edges. Not known Inca script, but something older. Some legends even describe it being able to open portals or communicate with celestial beings. What gives the story weight is how seriously the Incas guarded the object. The Temple of the Sun, now partly beneath the Church of Santo Domingo, was their most sacred site. And for them to hide the disk at all cost tells us this wasn't just ceremonial gold. It meant something. Whether it's buried, submerged, or still locked away in a cave, the golden disk's disappearance remains one of Peru's most unsolved mysteries.
Find Peter Parker!
Deep inside the dense Amazon rainforest, somewhere east of the Andes, lies the rumored location of Piti, a lost city built from stone and lined with gold. For centuries, explorers, archaeologists, and even treasure hunters have searched for it. Some disappeared, others returned with strange carvings, chunks of stone walls, and blurry photos of what could be ancient structures swallowed by the jungle. The legend of Piti comes from both Inca and Amazonian oral traditions. It was described as a sacred city of knowledge and wealth, a safe haven where the last Inca priests and nobles fled during the Spanish conquest. Supposedly they carried treasures and sacred artifacts with them, including golden statues and scrolls made of metal. Modern expeditions using drones and satellite scans have picked up unusual patterns in the forest, shapes too geometric to be natural. In one region, square foundations, straight paths, and low mounds were spotted beneath the tree cover. Indigenous guides claim those areas are cursed or protected by spirits. No one's proven the city exists, but there's growing evidence that something big once stood out there. Some believe Piti wasn't just a refuge. It may have been a spiritual or even technological center. A place where knowledge from an older world was preserved. Whatever it wasn't just about gold. It was about protecting something that still hasn't been found. Beneath the highlands of northern Peru lies one of the most baffling ancient sites in the Americas, Chavina de Huantar. Above ground it's already impressive, massive stone temples and plazas built over 2,000 years ago. But it's what's underground that stirs the most curiosity, a maze of tight dark tunnels carved deep into the earth. And they're not random. The layout of the underground chambers seems engineered for something specific. Some paths lead nowhere. Others bend sound in strange ways. Explorers have stood in one room and whispered, only for someone far away in another corridor to hear it clearly. In others, sounds echo in unnatural patterns, almost like the stone is amplifying vibrations. At the heart of the labyrinth stands the Lanzon, a tall, menacing granite monolith carved with the face of a deity, half human, half beast. No one knows what rituals took place here, but the layout, acoustics, and art suggest altered states of consciousness. Some believe the tunnels were designed to disorient visitors, making them more open to spiritual visions or contact with other realms. Modern acoustical engineers have studied the site and confirmed that the sound dynamics weren't accidental. That opens a bigger question: who built this underground structure, and why go to such extremes just to manipulate sound and space? Chavin might be far older than we think, and its hidden chambers may still be holding answers we're not ready for. Ollantaytambo is already impressive. Stone terraces built into the side of a steep mountain, massive walls that align with solstices. But the most confusing part isn't what's built, it's what was left behind. Just outside the fortress, scattered across a slope, are enormous stones that look like they were halfway through a process, as if a construction project suddenly stopped. Some of these blocks weigh over 50 tons. They were cut, shaped, and polished, then somehow transported from a quarry miles away across a river and uphill. The cuts are clean, the edges are sharp, but then everything halts. The stones are just sitting there, unfinished, unused, as if the builders disappeared overnight. Why was the work abandoned? Was it an invasion, a catastrophe, or did something else happen that made them leave in a hurry? Some theories say the unfinished stones were too difficult to move and had to be left behind. Others think there was a sudden halt due to political or spiritual reasons. What keeps this site fascinating is how the abandoned stones offer a glimpse into techniques we still don't fully understand. How were they moved? How were they cut so precisely? We don't see tool marks like you'd expect, and that raises the question: what kind of technology or knowledge allowed a civilization to manipulate stone on such a massive scale, then vanish before finishing the job? At first glance, the Inca Quipu looks like a cluster of colored strings tied with random knots, but this simple-looking artifact may be one of the most advanced data systems ever created in the ancient world. The Incas didn't write with symbols, they used knots. And now, researchers are discovering that quipus weren't just for counting. They might have stored language, history, and even music. Each knot, color, and string placement has meaning. Some strings recorded census data, others tracked crop inventories, tax records, and calendar systems, but a few quipus don't match any known accounting system. They're organized in ways that suggest storytelling, sentence structure, or even encoded messages. Some researchers now believe quipus were part of a larger communication network, a decentralized system that let officials send data across the empire. And since Quipu users were trained specialists, it's possible entire libraries of information once existed, all made of string. Unfortunately, when the Spanish arrived, most quipus were destroyed. Today, fewer than 1,000 survive. Decoding them has been slow, but every year, new progress is made. If quipus truly stored language and culture, then much of Inca history may still be locked away, not in books or tablets, but in chords and knots that haven't been fully read yet.
Find Peter Parker!
On Lake Tittikaka, the Euros people live on floating islands. Not rafts, but entire villages made from bundled reeds. These islands are handmade, anchored to the lakebed, and completely self-sustaining. And they've been here for centuries. While some see them as a tourist attraction today, their origins reveal something far deeper: survival engineering on a level that still impresses scientists. The Euros built these islands to escape hostile neighbors. But they didn't just float aimlessly. They developed methods to manage buoyancy, stability, and even island expansion. The reeds are stacked in layers, constantly replenished. Homes, boats, even watchtowers are built from the same material. The result? A mobile civilization that could literally relocate if threatened. Modern engineers who've studied the islands say the system is surprisingly advanced. The reed foundation distributes weight evenly and adjusts naturally with water levels. In harsh weather, the islands flex rather than break, a form of natural shock absorption. And despite the simple materials, the Euros have managed to maintain this ecosystem for generations. While other civilizations built castles or walls, the Euros built the lake. And they're still doing it today, using ancient knowledge that modern science is just starting to appreciate. Near the edge of Lake Tittikaka stands a massive, flat rock wall carved with a strange feature. A perfectly rectangular doorway cut into the stone. It leads nowhere. No chamber, no tunnel. Just a shallow indentation framed by strange grooves. Locals call it Aramumuru, the Gate of the Gods. And it's surrounded by legends. Some believe it was a ceremonial site. Others say it's a literal portal, a doorway to another world. Visitors often report feeling dizzy, disoriented, or even hearing humming sounds near the door. Some say placing your forehead against the stone creates visions. Geologists say the shape is natural erosion, but others point out the symmetry and flatness are too perfect for nature alone. Whatever its purpose, Aramumuru continues to draw curiosity. It's remote, surrounded by silence, and carved into a rock formation that seems out of place in the highlands. The question remains, was this a symbolic gateway to the spiritual world or a real one to somewhere else? One of the strangest theories about ancient Peruvian engineering involves a lost formula, a plant-based compound that could turn hard stone soft. Locals have long spoken about it. Inca legends mention piedra liquida, or liquid stone, used to mold rocks like clay before setting them into massive walls. The story gained traction when researchers found tool marks inconsistent with chiseling. Some stones at Sacsayhuaman, Ollantaytambo, and other sites show melted edges, almost as if they were poured into place. Even more strange, some stones seem fused together with no signs of cutting or grinding. Modern chemists have tried to replicate the process using native plants. One particular species, known for softening bones and even dissolving glass, has shown promise. Could it have been used to weaken limestone or granite temporarily? We still don't know. If the Incas or their ancestors had this knowledge, it would explain how they achieved such tight-fitting stones without metal tools. It would also suggest a level of chemical understanding that predates known science by centuries. The problem is, if the formula existed, it's gone. No texts, no records, only rumors, and stones that look like they were melted by hand. That's about it. Write in the comments which discovery surprised you the most. For more useful information, watch other videos.